Green Horse, Green Rider. We've talked about some of the anecdotes of when I first got Nasha and how I got Nasha, but the other piece to it is, so what does it take if you find yourself a green rider and you have a green horse? What are the elements that it takes to be successful? And I really have boiled that down to 3 essential pieces, and I'll take them one by one. But the first is coaching, having a good coach and trainer that you have a rapport with, that understands you and your horse, that you trust. The second is your own accountability. You know, how much time are you willing to put into working with your horse? We're going to go up a steep hill here, so let's see if we can walk this. Your own accountability of being there for your horse day in and day out throughout the year. And the third one is measurement and measured progress. Like being able to have a plan, a weekly plan, where you're measuring and really trying to take work on what you're doing and how you're going to be successful, and you're really looking for incremental steps to success that over a course of a year can be quite big, but in the short run can be can feel pretty small. When I met Chloe, it was 3 months into working, and my frustration had been that I was working with trainers that knew how to ride for sure and knew the fundamentals of riding, but I didn't feel like they really understood how to teach someone else to be riding. They could do the basics, but anything more than that, I didn't feel like they were good at working with the person. So when I, got a hold of Chloe, I actually went through Kingsway. I think I talked to Terry, the owner, and he recommended Chloe. And so he gave me the number. I sent a note to Chloe at that time, and I left her a voicemail on a Friday. And typical me, I didn't get a voicemail back. So by Monday, I was at her barn, and she was actually in a training process, which was great. I walked up to the platform where she was training from, and I waited patiently, and I got a chance to watch her train. And right out of the gates, there are a couple things that stood out. Number one, she understood who the person was that she was training. And there were a couple people in there at different ages, different levels, and she was able to relate to each in very different ways with different horses. 2, in my discussion with her, I realized she had gone to a high level of eventing, even though at the time I had no idea what eventing was. And so she knew how to ride. And 3, talking about her extensive work with horses. So I knew that working with a green horse was going to be not going to be an issue, that she had the tools to be able to do that. Of all 3, the most important to me was she understood the person. She had the emotional intelligence to understand how to train the person to ride the horse. One of my first anecdotes with her was to say, I said to her, I want you to train me to train him. And she didn't completely balk at it, but she said, yeah, we'll see. And I think that was correct. Like, she wanted to know that I had the accountability to be there and to learn from her and to do the homework that she was going to assign me. And I would take 2 to 3 lessons a week. And she's my trainer now. That's continuous. Amy takes a lesson, and I take at least a couple lessons every week. And you know, that was essential part. She simply had so many more tools than I could ever come up with, no matter how many YouTube videos I watched. Accountability, and that accountability was a huge part. I understood when I took him on that I was going to be there for him every day. Now that doesn't mean riding every day, but that means taking care of his grain. That means seeing him. That means when he last year in October had shin splints where all we could do is for 30 days walk from the ground, I walked him every day from the ground. It meant 30 days. After that 30 days I could walk him from his back. We could ride, but only in walking. That we did that for 30 days, and I was accountable. Now he certainly got his rest days as well, but I felt accountable to make sure we were doing everything we can. And that continues to now. In the 2 years we've been together, more than 2 years, I think I've been away from him maybe 15 to 18 days in that 2-year process. That I feel like he, you know, we're our own mini herd. I've got the responsibility of really taking care of him and making sure he's safe and that he's well adjusted. And he has his part of the partnership where he provides the ride and the companionship, and together that we need to make sure we create our own small herd as well. So that accountability, making sure we're together, we have a partnership, that he feels secure and comfortable and that he's being taken care of is a huge deal. And it's also part of that responsibility. He is well disciplined. He is, as they say, a good member of society. The third piece to this is measurement, and all of these work together. You pull one of them out and it doesn't really work very well. So we started out, when I got him, in the round pen. And part of that weekly plan was to walk him around the property by hand and then start walking him around the property on him, but slowly working from the round pen, walking and trotting, and a little canter into the arena, walking and trotting, and then building the canter in the round pen and then building in the arena. And that was step by step done with Chloe in a weekly plan, in a program. And as we got better, I moved to a bigger part of the property onto the Kingsway track into Galway, and you know, everything was working towards building on the program. And if there was a step back, that's okay. We went back to fill that gap, and maybe that was picking up the right lead and having difficulty picking up that lead. We worked on those things, but what was most important to me is what we worked on is his brain, and him thinking through and working with me and starting to ask me what next, what are we doing next. Now that's challenging for a 3-year-old, then 4-year-old, then 5-year-old, but that's the process. That is building on the program of being together every day, and that's still part of the process. We're not in any means a finished product. We've done a huge amount this year, 7 events, going from one starter to beginner novice to all the schooling rounds we've done. It's been a phenomenal year, but the process continues just like we're doing here, where we're going out on a trail ride, just us two together, and being able to shoot this video while I'm doing it. That's a big deal. That's a big deal for both of us. And we've got to continue to work together on building each of our boundaries, expanding our boundaries.